Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, reporting for duty from MCHQ for episode number 6 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Latini Creative Solutions. For over 20 years, they've been in the design, print, and marketing business, specializing in creative solutions that are going to capture your voice and deliver your message. So if you're trying to rebrand your business right now, give it a little upgrade, call my friend Christine at Latini Creative Solutions. From supporting and energizing your established brand to developing your company's identity and marketing campaigns, Latini Creative Solution provides design that is thoughtful and focused and creatively executed. I know all of this because if you look at all of the new Mistress Carrie artwork I got going on, I'm telling you, she's awesome. You can find out everything you need to know at latinicreative.com. This episode of the podcast is also sponsored by RPM Dynamics. Now, if you are trying to make an outdoor entertainment area at your business sound amazing, then you need to call my buddy Jim. Now, I've known him for over 25 years because we were roadies together. And then what did he do? He started his own company, bought state-of-the-art equipment, and established himself as the most meticulous and perfect sound man that's out there. He always gives 110%, and you can always tell how good somebody is if people call him in a crisis. That oh shit moment when things aren't working, people call Jim. So if you're trying to make your business sound fantastic, indoors or outdoors, check out rpmdynamics.com and call my buddy Jim because he knows everything. All right, it's time for episode number 6. This is one of my oldest and dearest friends. He is one of the first guys in one of the first bands that I became friends with way back when I started my radio career. He's a husband. He's a father. He's a business owner. I just found out he's a stock trader. He's a surfer. He's a skateboarder. And oh yeah, his main job? He's one badass motherfucker. The lead singer of DevilDriver and Coal Chamber. Let's see how good his tomato plants really are. If you haven't met him yet, he's one of the most interesting people on the planet, and I can't wait for you to get to know Dez Fafara.
Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely. Pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Aaron from Stain, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
This is Marilyn Manson, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie. Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Dez!
Carrie, how are you?
I am so good, and it is so good to hear you and your voice. How are you doing?
We're doing okay. I mean, as good as the rest of the nation is, you know, just trying to, obviously being with family a lot. I'm in the office daily working with the Oracle management, and DevilDriver's releasing songs, and yeah, you know, just trying to keep our head up. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. The last few months have been a little crazy. And not just because of the virus, but because of the radio station and everything. And things are finally starting to feel a bit more normal, which for me, I hate to use the phrase new normal, but after the coronavirus, a lot of people's lives will go back to some semblance of normalcy, but mine can't because the radio station's gone. So it's like every day moving forward, I'm building my new reality, and it's very strange.
Right, of course. Well, look, one of my mentors, who's probably worth $1 billion, said to me, if you only dip your toe in one lake, you'll never know what it's like to swim in the other one. So basically meaning always have different fallbacks, always have different jobs. I mean, I always have run 3, 4, 5 businesses, and have fun doing it. So if you're at that capacity, then, and let me tell you, it's an old adage. And sometimes when people say it, it really sucks, but doors closed, windows open, windows closed, doors open. And that's really where you're at right now. So I wish you the best of luck with everything in the future. I mean, you've been, the face of music in Boston for, I can't even remember, obviously since the inception of my career, with Coal Chamber, and you helped so many of us break out. I mean, from Coal Chamber to Godsmack, you know what I mean? You were responsible for helping breaking careers. So you should feel very good and very proud of what you've done, and just hold your head up and move high. And you just know that the whole community is behind you 100%.
Well, that is so appreciated. And that's one of the things when we got the news. I mean, we found out on a Tuesday that Friday night was going to be the last night we were on the air. And
wow.
I spent my entire adult life at WAAF. So, I mean, starting as an intern when I was 18 and in college, and 22 years on the air, that I had to really spend some time figuring out what the hell I was going to do. And one of the things that kept coming up in my head was, where would a band starting out the way that Coal Chamber started out, or Godsmack, or Seven, like all of these bands, where are they going to go now to try and start their careers in the Northeast? Because that was one of the things that WAAF was always really good at, was recognizing talent and wanting to expose the audience to new and exciting things. And we don't have that here anymore. And so one of the things that I'm trying to do with my podcast and with my new company and my video show, Cocktails in the War Room, is like really trying to be that place, that clubhouse where the rock scene in the Northeast still gathers, but with this new technology now, because I'm not limited to the radio station signal, my podcast is in 75 countries now. And so I'm welcoming everybody into this New England rock scene now, and it's really cool.
I love it. People should know, there's a few people around the nation, really. I would say 5, maybe. And you're one of them that absolutely goes out of their way to help bands and ingratiate yourself and bring yourself to what they do. So good for you. I mean, look, you'll come upon what you're doing here, and I know you'll succeed. If you're wise, to do what you do best, and that's what you're doing. You're doing what you do best, and if you continue with that, it's only, it's not going to be some big uphill battle. It's gonna succeed for you, and we're all here for you. Look, maybe radio is the old days, right? I mean, literally AM, FM. I mean, I can't remember the last time I listened to AM, FM anyways. I listen to Sirius Radio if I'm going to listen to something, right? Or I just Spotify the songs or whatever I want to do, or buy records that I want to buy. So it's a new world. And the fact that you don't have to just be heard on that airwave, and you can be heard, all over this world, that's a fantastic thing. And that's what this technology allows you to do. And look, in these kind of times, I think you need to step up and you need to do something different, obviously, right? I mean, we did this with Oracle Live and started launching our streaming service, and we've done some really big bands, and we're getting ready to do even more to allow bands to actually play for people in their homes, put some money in their pockets as they've got downtime and clubs are not open and touring is not happening. So, if you don't adapt, you die. And so adapt or die has always been my motto since the very beginning of probably when I was in my youth. And it seems like you're doing it. So I'm glad to be part of the show, and you're a long-time friend. And I remember the last time we seen each other's, my wife was with me, and she was the first time she ever met you. And it was really great seeing both of you guys together because she's heard your name in our household, for 25 plus years,
There's so many things I want to talk to you about. But you bring up Anastasia, and you guys have been together for 25 years now?
Yeah, a long time. I mean, we met in 98. So, yeah, very long time,
That's the year that I started on the air at AAF. So that's how long, right?
Yeah.
And people might recognize her because she was on the cover of Cole Chamber's album, Chamber Music.
Yeah, she was. Very shortly after we met, we actually needed a model for that. And I was like, hey, I got this girl I've been dating. And she's hot. I'm pretty sure this is serious. I mean, I told her the very first night that I met her, it was serious. The very first, I was, it's a long story, but the story goes, I was at Ozzy's house. We were having dinner. And then his assistant was going out to the House of Blues in LA. And I was like, look, I'm not going out. I'm still the same way I was back then. I'm very private. And I was living at the Beverly Hills Hotel. I was off tour at the time. And I'm just going back to the hotel. I'm going to catch a bath and just go to sleep. And he's like, dude, just come with me. I'm going to have a quick drink. I'll have you home by 10 or 11. This band is playing. And I went. And as I was walking in, she was coming out from dinner. She wasn't staying for the show. She had gone for dinner. And first words out of my mouth were, what do we have here? Probably the shittiest pickup line ever given. And at that point, she had a pager, and I told her, look, if you stay with me tonight, literally, like this is the second I met her. If you stay with me tonight, I'm going to be with you for the rest of my life. That's it. And she's like, yeah, right. Anyways. And then she was driving back to Santa Barbara, and I blew her pager up all night long. And we've been together ever since. It's been an incredible thing. Look, a good woman or a good man in your case, right, can make your life way better or way worse. I just got extremely lucky. She's the rock of which I base my whole life on, and we're best friends, and we do everything together. I mean, at this point now, I don't even tour without her. I don't do anything without her because I spent.
Well, that's why it was great that I got to meet her when DevilDriver was in town last, because I was like, oh my God, I finally get to meet the legend.
Yeah, it was, look, there's something about everybody that's hearing this podcast could totally get it, but there's something about seeing girls in a room together when they first meet or they're getting to know each other. The energy is insane. Like dudes don't do that. We kind of try to be cool around each other or whatever, but women, you guys get, you get all that estrogen happening, and it was cool to see. But she said this morning, tell her I said hello. And she's in our upstairs office right now taking care of business. She's the CEO of the Oracle management. We have a lot of big bands over here, actually. So we're working pretty heavily today. Mondays and Thursdays are pretty insane for us.
I think it's really hilarious, and it's kind of foreshadowing that you were at Ozzy's house and then left to go and eventually meet your soulmate. And now she has become your Sharon in a way, is that she manages your whole career. You guys are in business together. And it's really kind of hilarious that you have that kind of similar business/romantic marriage relationship.
Yeah, she's a hard businesswoman. I wouldn't want to mess with her. And in DevilDriver's case, and even with what's gone on with Cole Chamber, with re-releasing and stuff like that, she manages all that stuff because as an artist, you really shouldn't manage yourself, because I could say to the record company, I want, and it just comes out like, spoiled baby, but then she'll hit up the record company and say, I want for the band. And they'll be like, oh, no problem, Anastasia. So, and she's extremely diligent. We're both very, very detail orientated. And for us, it's a love affair with what we do. I'm bringing 30 years of experience to the management thing. And, I get up at 5 a.m. anyways, because I'm a stock trader as well on the side. So I've got to be up early, and I rarely sleep. I sleep 4 or 5 hours a night since I was a kid. So, being home 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, look, I want to start another company besides, DevilDriver and Cole Chamber and Sun Cult, actually, which we run with Randy from Lamb of God. And, we had a couple agents actually call us up and say, look, you guys would be incredible managers. Why don't you start a company? And we did, and it's been thriving. And it's been a really, really good time. I love being on the other side of this. I mean, don't get me wrong. I miss being on a tour bus, miss being on airplanes, love the stage more than anything. Still keep myself in shape and ready for it. But there is something to being on the other side of the coin and talking to all the other people and all the other managers and all the other agents in the business and doing business for other bands and watching them succeed. When you land them a beer, or you land them, an endorsement, or you land them a tour, or you pick up a new band like Ginger, that had 2 records out and no one really kind of heard of them. And then we brought them to the States, actually on our own dime, and watch them explode. We had the Cradle of Filth, DevilDriver, Wednesday 13, 69 Eyes. I mean, a lot of amazing acts. So it's been fun. And her and I, we do everything together anyway. So working together is kind of second nature for us, and I said it before, but I'll say it again. It's like, now I will not tour without her. If she doesn't want to go, or, she can't go because of something, then I'm just, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm sick of having experiences away from home and calling her going, hey, I'm in this little restaurant in France. It's incredible, and she's just going, great. I'm home with the dogs.
Well, you guys are one of the only rock and roll families. You're one of the only rock and roll guys that I know that was able to sidestep what I affectionately call rock star revenge, meaning if you're a rock star, you are doomed to have the most beautiful daughter on the planet. And there is only a handful of rock stars I know that were able to just have sons. And I don't know if it's some kind of energy that you put out in the world that you didn't have to now spend the rest of your life worried that your beautiful daughter was going to meet a guy like you. But you guys have 3 sons. How did you pull that off?
This is a hilarious conversation because Anastasia just had this with me yesterday in the car. We were on the phone with a friend of ours that has 2 daughters, right? And he's just pulling his hair out. And we hung up, and she said, God, we got lucky, didn't we? I said, yeah, we did. So I don't know. Yeah, we have 3 great sons. And, my youngest is 22, and he's actually coming with his first record next year. His name is Simon Blade Fafara. He's coming with a record next year. He actually was recording here at the home studio last night till midnight. My middle son, Caleb, is 25. I'm extremely proud of him. He's a major contributor to the Oracle management. He's here with me now in the office. He manages several bands, and he's my assistant in all things that I do. And my eldest is in Seattle doing schooling, and with my granddaughter. I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, or 4-year-old, granddaughter. Yeah. So, Sophia Maria Fafara. I said, well, you better teach her grandma's spaghetti sauce, or actually gravy. Better teach her that gravy sauce, like, quick, with a name like that. So, yeah, I've been blessed, man. Look, I've avoided, you mentioned the word rock star. It's like, you've known me for a very long time, right? It's always been a kind of a dirty word. I come from a real blue collar background, worked very, very hard on job sites my whole life. My stepfather was in construction and left home at an early age as well. And everything I've ever gotten, I've kind of pulled myself up on my own bootstraps. I mean, of course there was, luck of the draw. You play a show and you meet Sharon Osbourne, you end up getting managed or things like that. But it was all hard work to get there. So I'm extremely blessed, and I've kept my nose to the grindstone. I live in a very suburban environment. I've never put myself in a gated community, which is crazy because I've actually come out in the morning and had like a kid in front of my house set up a tent on the grass and found out I lived where I lived and just wanted to meet me and, cut to my wife, half an hour later, bringing him out some breakfast and stuff and then telling him to politely pack up the stuff and go after I signed for him. But, I don't know. I come from a working class background, so I've never fallen into the whole rock star thing. And many frontmen, if not 95%, they adapt an ego core, which I like to call it, to go on stage. You got to have that. But they oftentimes take that and live it as their outside life as well. And that's just never kind of happened with me. So I think that's maybe the vibe.
It was explained to me that if you're going to be a person that gets behind a microphone, right, in any way,
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be a healthy ego that someone's going to want to listen to whatever it is you're spouting off through that microphone. The hard part is then getting out from behind the microphone and maintaining yourself as just a regular person, because at the end of the day, that's what we all are.
Yeah, that's what we all are. I mean, we're no different, you know. And I'm a Freemason, so in my North Hollywood lodge, I mean, I've got, you know, mayors and chiefs of police and, you know, gardeners. And, you know, interesting story is George Washington was made a Freemason by his gardener, actually, is the one who bestowed upon him his third degree. So we believe, and I always have, that everybody is equal underneath the eyes of the watchers. So that I've maintained that. And I think it's helped me along the way, most definitely, you know. And definitely, look, if you go on stage, you have to have an ego. I always say there's two times you don't want to fuck with me. That's if you're messing with my family at all, don't fuck with me. And if you're going on stage before me or after me, I'm going to give you hell. It doesn't matter if you're 20 or you're in your 60s and you're the biggest guy out there, I'm going to give you hell. And when I stop feeling like that, I'll stop taking the stage and grabbing the microphone. And I think, you know, there are guys out there that, you know, need to think about that. You know, you don't want to go up there and take that stage and not have that in you anymore. So I still carry the torch extremely high. And with this new record, this new DevilDriver record, this new double record, like I'm laying it out all on the line. And should COVID pass in a timely manner, you know, I've got touring set up next year, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see how everything goes, you know.
Well, the new double album is called Dealing with Demons. It comes out October 9th, so we got some time before the record comes out. But my brain right now, thinking back, I mean, you're one of the oldest friends that I have in the music business because we met at such early stages of our careers, right? And now,
for the first year or two of our careers, that's when we all bonded.
Yeah, and now I'm like, okay, that guy, Dez, that kicked the door to my studio in after Ozzfest with LJ from Seven Dust and Joey from Life of Agony and all that, is a grandfather Freemason day trader when he's not on tour. Like, if you had told me that 22 plus years ago, I would have been like, shut up.
Back then, I was drinking a bottle of whiskey a night and riding on the top of tour buses on the freeway, girl, trying to figure out what life was all about, just like you do in your youth. You know, you've got to fly to the wind. You know, we all grow up. There's just a certain kid that's still in me as well. You know, I mean, I was skateboarding, you know, 2 nights ago, you know, till like 11:30 at night outside of my house, and so there's still that goes. But I think everybody grows up. You know. You grow up and then you find the things that interest you. And I don't think any of those things that you mentioned interested me in my 20s. You know, it was all about, you know, where's the next show? You know, oh, you got some pretty girls over. I'm coming over. Let's get some drinks. You know, now it's a whole different story. You know, I'm sober a pretty long time now, almost 5 years. And that changed my life drastically. So
congratulations on that, by the way. That's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you. I mean, and I say off alcohol because I still love and adore marijuana, just because I have ADD. Like, you know, I only sleep 4 hours a night, so I don't even know what I would sleep if I didn't have that. But when it comes to alcohol, for sure, or any of the pills that we all occasionally did on the road together, with Seven Dust and everybody else, you know. So it's been interesting, you know. And I think if you don't grow, then you stay in this childlike state in your 40s and 50s just because you're still a musician. And, you know, the only ones that suffer are you and your family and everybody else around you. So at a certain point, got to grow up. You know, I've got a few mentors and they're all guys who have done fairly well. Like I always say, like, don't look up to a guy, you know, who you got to look down at. Okay. So, you know, and this guy said to me, you know, look, it doesn't look good on a man over 30. And I said, what doesn't really? He says, you know, sitting there in a party, holding a whiskey bottle. Like, it doesn't look good on a guy over 30. So, you know, I kept going after that and, you know, didn't really listen, but I really understand what he says now. You know what I mean? So
I will never forget there were a couple of firsts that I had with you very early on in the old days, you know, one of the things was when you guys, meaning Coal Chamber, recorded here in Massachusetts at Longview Farm Studios, and you and I really started to become friends. You're the first person I ever met that had a tattoo on their face.
Yeah, right. I used to go into the bank or into places and get turned away. There's a story of me with that tattoo with blue hair getting turned away from Disneyland. Like, now that I think about it, I probably could have had such a great fucking lawsuit. But the discrimination against tattooed and pierced kids in the 80s and 90s. I mean, I had my nose pierced and my first tattoo when I was 15. So for anybody listening, you know, my mom got me up for school one morning and saw it and just flipped out hard on me. And we went down to the local tattoo parlor with like a fake note signed by my mom and the biker guys all there. And the biker guys all down there just kind of looked at me. And the guy who first tattooed me, I remember his name was Harley. So that'll tell you. And he just said, "Oh, so your mom signed this?" I go, "Yeah." And he tattooed me. I mean, so interesting fact now, you know, anywhere I go, it's like, and I say kids now because, you know, I'm in my 50s. So anybody who's 18 or 20 or 30 to me is a kid. But now you
get off the lawn.
Yeah. Now you look at the face tattoos. It's insane. I mean, the kid in the bank has more face tattoos than I had in the 90s. It's really incredible. You know, we were walking through, I don't know where we were last weekend, but we were walking through some place, and, you know, I would say every third to fourth kid, because there was music going on, had face tattoos. I'm glad to see the culture kind of come full circle, really. But I remember when Anastasia first met Rob Zombie's wife, Sherry. Anastasia was doing like this modeling thing or whatever at the House of Blues, and Sherry was there and a bunch of famous people. And I, of course, didn't go because I was like, well, whatever, I'm private. I really don't want to go out. I'm not on tour. But she said something. What did you say to Sherry or to Rob? You said, "Oh, I'm Anastasia. I'm
Sherry's introducing me to Rob, and she said this is Dez's wife, and he goes, "Oh, Dez's girlfriend."
Yeah.
Oh, how crazy, Dez.
Yeah. Introduced, you know, oh, you're Dez's girlfriend. How's crazy, Dez? And I thought to myself, okay, I earned the moniker. Here we go. It's on.
Well, and especially getting that nickname from those people, that you're the crazy one in the crew.
Yeah, it's cool to see it all come around, really. I mean, like my kids are all tattooed, all of them, and it's cool to see it coming around now, you know, and to see it actually okay, really. You know, where grandmothers and stuff are coming in to get tattooed, right? So it's great.
The other first that I had with you is you were the first person that ever got me to eat those weed cookies that you used to have sent to you way back in the day before it was all legal and you could just go buy edible gummies at the store. But you used to have these boxes of these cookies and you were like, "Carrie,
oh yeah,
you got to check this cookie out." And I just remember sinking into a chair at Longview, and I'm like, "Dez, when am I going to be able to get up and walk around again? What the hell is going on?"
That Longview experience was really cool, man. I mean, we were up there almost 3 months making chamber music, and I love living in that area. And, you know, I've kind of always had Boston in my heart because of that thing. But I remember, we used to get boxes of weed cookies sent up and, you know, either driven up or however, you know, we won't say how, but I remember one night taking those with you for sure and kind of thinking back and looking, you know, just like looking up at the sky out there, because out at Longview, you know, just the stars they're everywhere. Right. So it's incredible, but that was a crazy, crazy time up there doing that record, man. There was so much going on. That place was haunted as fuck. And when I say haunted, I mean haunted. We have some really crazy experiences up there. I'll give you a really quick one. One night we went up to talk to Raina. She was up in the very high room, like almost an attic room. And she said, "Hey, I can't get off my bed. They won't let me off my bed." And I thought, okay, what are you talking about? And we plainly heard in her room voices talking to her. Okay. And we had to break down the door 15, 20 minutes later. We had to break down the door to get to her, and she's literally shaking out of her mind, saying, "No, there's ghosts dressed in 1700 to 1800 clothing, sitting here on my bed, holding me on my bed, wouldn't let me get up. When you guys came through the door, they dissipated. Like, I mean, we had some crazy stuff happen up there. One night when Meeks was recording, I was drawing and just sketching out of my head, and on this big draw book. And Meeks was like, "What are you drawing?" I go, "I don't know." And I was sketching like these tombstones and stuff, and one of them was kind of laid over next to an oak tree or whatever. And about 2 hours later, when he's done recording, we all took flashlights and went walking through the property. And it's probably 30, 40 acres. And about, I'd say 15 acres in to a half an hour, 40-minute hike, we came upon the exact same graveyard that I had drawn 2 hours previous that I had never seen before in my whole lifetime. So, I mean, everybody ran back to that ranch. But there's some really, really crazy things up there. Sightings of I guess ghost dogs and sightings of the people who used to live there, and then the people who work there that feed you every day, et cetera, you know, while you're staying there in house, would tell us just the craziest stories. And until we started seeing it, I didn't believe it. But yeah, that place is about as haunted as it gets. So if you're a band getting ready to go up there, get ready to have a good time. I mean, I walked in the upstairs room one time over the studio and was like, "Oh, I'm going to stay here." It was like this room that was slanted sideways, like how the roof is slanted sideways. It was really small. And I was like, "This is going to be perfect. I'm going to stay up here." But the whole room was full of flies. I mean, like, it's almost like out of a movie, full of flies. And I went downstairs to tell the women, "Hey, I can't stay up there. You know, there's flies on the room." She goes, "What are you talking about?" She walked me straight up there. They were all gone. Every single one of them. So something didn't want me to stay there, and suffice it to say, I went down in the other house and stayed with the rest of the band. So yeah, crazy times. We had such good times there. I remember one night we went out, all took a limo from there and went saw the Deftones, and you were there. Everybody was hanging out, like just a really good time, man. Good memories in my life of Longview Farms outside of Boston.
Well, I think one of the reasons why you and I have always stayed in contact, even if I don't talk to you for a really long time, or even if I don't see you for a long time, the next time I see you or talk to you, it's like I saw you yesterday. And I think you and I, even though we grew up on opposite coasts, had a very similar kind of upbringing, that we're both Sicilian and Portuguese. We both grew up working with our family, at a very early age. We both grew up very middle class, working class, and all of that work ethic and the cultural stuff about family and getting together for meals and all of those things. You and I have always shared those things in common. And so even though we had very different upbringings as far as geography goes, we share a lot of that other kind of stuff. I mean, it just shows in the different businesses that you're doing and the things that I'm doing now. It's like you just kind of meet common people and you gravitate towards them.
I think it's really cool when people have an appreciation for each other, especially over a long period of time. I definitely appreciate you, Carrie. It was so wonderful seeing you when we did at the show, and wonderful to introduce you to my wife, and just great to talk right now and like reminisce for people. Because we're going through 20, 25 years of history right now, that never will be again. But you're a big part of my life. I mean, you were a huge part of my life, certainly a huge part of my career. And anytime we were around, I remember you always coming out. And, have always been very appreciative and very thankful for anybody who's supported me or been my friend, And look, I think it is where you come from is eventually where you're going. Yeah, I'll never kind of stick my head above the clouds like a lot of people do in this industry. It's just not where I come from, right? And I think you and I see eye to eye on that. And blue collar is a huge statement, but that literally you and I could tattoo that on us, And maybe actually we're going to do that. Maybe when I come to Boston, we'll go get blue collar tattooed on us somewhere.
Well, now tattoos are legal in Massachusetts. They weren't even, I remember when you guys were recording and we were hanging out and you were talking about tattoos and I was like, "You can't get tattooed here." And you were like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And I said, "Yeah, tattoos are illegal in Massachusetts." And you were like, "What are you talking about?" I mean, it wasn't until the 2000s where you could actually open a tattoo shop in Massachusetts.
Yeah, we had a tattoo artist come to Longview Farms and tattoo us, and his whole thing was like, don't tell anybody I'm doing this. Don't. And of course, back then there's no social media, so it's not like, don't post this. But he was like, don't tell anybody you're doing this. Don't talk to anybody, in the city and tell them I'm here, because he was there for 2 or 3 days tattooing us. Don't let anybody know I drove across state lines with my tattoo stuff. And I always thought to myself that was a little weird, but in California, tattooing's been around. It's just part of the culture. So it is what it is, but it's a good thing you guys kind of opened up to it. I mean, it's a really good thing. Let's be honest. You got to let people express themselves,
Well, you have always been one of those people that was very comfortable in your skin, and you're kind of this enigma, right? Where you would look at you with the really long hair. I mean, I look at old pictures of us and your hair was so short compared to how long it is now, but you got all the tattoos and the long hair, and you're in this metal band, and you have that life, but then you're this suburban, happily married business owner dad that is probably more of a productive member of society than most people going to work in a business suit every day.
There you go.
And it just makes me laugh that, the same thing with me now. Like, I'm a business owner now, and it blows my mind. Like, last week I was talking to Daryl McDaniels from Run DMC, because I wanted business advice from him. And also, we were talking because I think Run DMC has the best merch that's ever been made. Like, that Run DMC logo and all of the stuff that they make is so amazing. So I was like, Daryl, you got to give me some advice when it comes to merch, because I got to start making cool ass Mistress Carrie shit. And you've got Sun Cult and all this stuff. So I'm going to ask you the same business advice, because I want to make sure that I'm making really cool shit. I got new artwork and all of this stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what you should do. First of all, email Anastasia, because we have the Oracle merch, and we'll take care of you. We got the best prices you possibly could imagine, right? But I think branding...
You're such a businessman. Listen to you.
Branding is a huge thing. You have to be branded. Every band that you mentioned in this podcast, including my own, branded themselves. Either a look, a logo, a little moniker next to their logo. And I think you just need to brand yourself, and that's the whole thing. Come up with a branded logo, come up with some branded statements. And then, you know what? If you don't love it, don't do it. So that's my main thing. Like, everyone goes, let's go make money. And I go, no, let's have fun. Then let's make money. Because if you don't put the fun in front of it, money comes and goes. Right. And yeah, money can change things, but it's not going to bring you happiness. And it's not. And I've been poor and I've been wealthy, and money has not been the thing to bring me happiness. So I think going back to the convo, it's like, you need to brand yourself. You need to have fun doing it. You need to enjoy doing it. You need to get on some sites and sell your shirts. And I mean, I know most bands out there would wear your stuff. I would wear your stuff and get other people to post it on their socials. Get me to post it. Get Homeboy from Godsmack to post it. Get everybody to post, get LJ to post it. And start building your brand and fall in love with your brand. That's how we started Sun Cult. We were sitting on the beach, we surf. I grew up surfing. My mom put me in the water at age 6. It's always been the place I can get away and drop Dez. I can drop Cold Chamber. I can drop DevilDriver. I can drop everything. I can go, put my toes in the sand, and get out there in the water, and I can just be me. And I think that's where it started. We were sitting on the beach, and Anastasia's like, you know what? They don't have any good metal surf wear. I don't see any really cool boards, the kind that we would design. What would we, or skateboards, or this or that. And she came up with the name. We started to launch it, started to brand it. Randy from Lamb of God is a very close family friend. We like to joke he has a room up here, because we painted a room up here for him when one of my sons moved out. Caleb, he moved like 6 miles away from me. We painted the room. We put towels with R's in there, so he felt comfortable when he came over. And he had just gotten into surfing, and he was doing a surfing book after his book about him being in jail. And he was like, dude, what is this? What is this Sun Cult? I see you guys wearing these shirts. You're surfing a Sun Cult board. I said, dude, this is just our home brand. We're starting with 2 shirts and a board, and now it's really, really grown. We just signed a contract with Putnam and it looks like we're going to be getting into some, very big brick and mortar stores. They'll remain nameless right now because I can't do the announce on it yet. But just watching it grow over 3 or 4 years has been fun. Then if money comes, it's cool. So just have fun with what you're doing. I mean, I've always had a good time with any of the businesses that I'm doing. I mean, even if it's day trading, like, believe it or not, I have a good time, like sitting there watching those numbers, and then calling a broker going sell, and then sitting there going, man, I made this much money just now, just sitting on my ass. I mean, and anybody can do it. My mentor is a guy that you should follow on Instagram. His name is Dan Pena, Pena. He took $800 and turned it into $1 billion. So that's a great mentor to look at. He has fun with what he's doing, but he also tells you how to do it. And he took $800 and day traded himself into $1 billion. So have fun with what you're doing, and branding is a huge deal. Look, I will say this: if you don't have a really great artist, that'll be your downfall. So we've got several that I could send your way. So just hit me and Anastasia up at any time, and like clockwork, you can hit me at 5 a.m. Monday through Saturday, and I'm up. So feel free to.
It's so crazy. Like for as similar as you and I are with certain things, there are certain things that are just like, first of all, the idea of surfing, because I'm the most uncoordinated person on the planet. That idea of getting on a surfboard and trying to surf stresses me out. The idea of day trading stresses me out. And the idea that you are such a morning person. Like when I saw you, when the last time we were together, when DevilDriver was in town, I remember after the show, you were like, babe, I got to go to bed. And I was like, dude, it's not even midnight. Like, what? Because you're such a morning guy now. And that's why I'm a skydiver, man. Like, that's what I do to find myself. That's where I go to kind of shed all of my stress. Is that
how many times have you how many times have you jumped out of an airplane and you're afraid to day trade? I'm laughing.
Yeah.
and
I don't know.
And let me go back to the morning guy thing. It's like, you got to understand, like from 95 till, I don't even know, 2014, I didn't see the sun come up. I never had mornings. I was always like, got to get in bed before the scare ball comes up. Got to be in bed by 3:30, 4 a.m. Got to go to bed before the sun comes up. And then I sleep on the road till 1 or 2 o'clock. You know what I mean? But I found, like, when I started to be at home during records or whatever, especially with the management company, I got to be up very early because I deal with, Europe and all over the world. I started getting up before the sun coming up and started kind of like opening my windows and watching the sun come up. And I was like, wow, this is insane. I missed this for 25 years of my life. And I remember getting to the job site, when I was a bricklayer, got to be there at 5 o'clock mixing mud, got to be ready to go, and I would always see the suns, and I loved the mornings. There's nothing like getting coffee in an early morning, and I really missed out on that vibe for 25 years. So now, I try to get up, literally try to do 20, 25 minutes of meditation, no phones, no screens, no music, and watch the sun come up. I don't know. It's a beautiful thing. It's a really beautiful thing.
I think sleeping till one of the things that I've done over the last few months, because my entire life was disrupted before the virus, right? And then the virus happens, and now the whole world is disrupted. One of the things, going back to what we talked about at the beginning of our conversation, is trying to find my new normal and trying to figure out what it was in my old life that I loved, that made me happy, that I want to keep, and what are some of the things that made me unhappy that I'm willing to let go in order to kind of shed that skin and become whatever new person I'm going to become. And so one of the things that I started doing for the first time in my adult life is not setting an alarm clock, right? Just to see what time my body really wants to get up, because I've never been able to do that.
Of course.
And my body wants to wake up at 9:30 in the morning. I don't know why, but that's the time when my body's like, I'm good to go. 9:30 in the morning, I'm up. Now I get up, right? And I've always had pugs, even back in, when you and I first met.
I remember your dogs.
Yeah. And so I have a little black pug named Wednesday now. And the first thing I do in the morning is I take Wednesday and we go out into my vegetable garden. And please tell me you got tomato plants in the backyard, Dez. Don't let me down.
I'm Italian. What do you think?
Okay. I'm just making sure. And I go outside, I check my tomato plants, and I pick berries off my bushes, and I kind of ease my way into the day. And I never had the opportunity to do that ever, because I always woke up with the alarm clock and that, oh shit, I got to get up. I got this to do, that to do. And then I got to get in the car and go sit in traffic to get to the radio station. That was my existence for decades. And
so you
now,
totally get it. Yeah, you get it.
Yeah. And now it's like I'm just starting to enjoy these little things about my life that I never took the time to appreciate as much.
So that's what it is right now. That's what it is. And that's what it is during this whole pandemic thing, right? Like you can complain about it because a lot of people are out of work and it's really disturbed life in general. And a lot of people, there's been a lot of deaths. But the positives that come out of it are you end up spending way more time with your family. You end up spending way more time with yourself. You end up putting your family first. You end up putting your pug first. You end up putting your body clock first. What time do you want to get up? You know, and you have to listen to yourself, and you've got to listen to your inner. I always call it my inner voice. You know, I've always listened to my inner voice. You know, which this is funny. This is a great segue. Yesterday we had to run somewhere real quick. I think it was like Lowe's. I had to get something for something. Right. I'm like, I really don't feel like we should go right now. I feel like we should hang back. And Anastasia's like, yeah, maybe we can go tomorrow. I'm kind of feeling the same prompting. Like maybe we should just hang back. And I go, well, let's 3:00 in the afternoon. Let's just run out real quick. We ran out. We got a mile, and she got pulled over. And I said, okay, so I had the prompting, and I don't know why she got, she either got pulled over because she had dreads or whatever it is. I was like, I had the prompting to stay home. You had the prompting to stay home. We didn't stay home. We got pulled over. From now on, any promptings, that's it. We listen to them. So you got to listen to yourself, and those things that you did for the station, you gave your life away. Same thing I did for rock and roll. Right. So I love everybody who's ever supported me, but I also, you gotta understand, I put my whole life into it too. My kids, I wasn't home a lot of the times for my kids. I missed a lot of things. I missed birthdays, one of them graduating from high school. Like I missed some things that like I'll regret for the rest of my life. But if I hadn't done that, would we have a home? Would we have, would my family have what we have now? Would we be stable, et cetera, if I didn't put my nose to the grindstone and work? But, when I look back, it's like, yeah, I've never saw mornings. And when I did, it was always like, oh God, this is going to be the worst day ever. I got to get back to the bus. I got to get back to the bus right now. And I'm no doubt going to be sleeping until 5 p.m. and I'm going to miss the meet and greet or whatever it is. So you got to listen to yourself, man, and take time for that, and look, I think that shit comes with age too. In your 20s and your early 30s, you're running so hard that you're trying not to look back at all. But if you look back, you'll have a really positive way in looking forward. That's the way I view it. I have an Instagram page called Personal Positive Posts with Dez, right? And I talk about that a lot, about listening to yourself and about doing what comes natural and not doing what comes forced. I mean, I talk about a lot of stuff, actually. I've got a doctor on there, Dr. Scott, because some questions from people I can't answer because I'm not a clinical psychologist, and I really don't want to say something that's wrong and lead somebody down the wrong road or suicide or this or that, right? And there's a lot of people out there that need to be talked to, and you have a great format in your podcast to do that, to not only spread music, but joy, positivity, spread the word about other bands coming up and help their career. And one day they'll look back on you 10 years from now, like, Mistress Carrie, man, you gave me my first start on your podcast. Thank you so much. And it's got to feel good for you. It's got to feel good for you. I mean, I can guarantee you this, that you were a pivotal point in all of those careers that I mentioned, from Godsmack to Seven Dust to Us to Korn to Manson. If you didn't get WAAF, you didn't transfer to other stations around the country, and your record fell short, period. So when I met you, we vibed, and you were just like, oh yeah, cool, I'll play you guys, cool. And it helped us, and it's got to feel good for you. And when you look back at all the bands that you helped break and all the lives you changed, every life you changed, you know, you could say, look, you know, Godsmack is riding around and, you know, with motorcycles in their trailer because of you. You're one of the first people to play them, you know, or Coal Chamber got, you know, several gold records, went around the world with Pantera and Black Sabbath, etc., because you broke us. That's got to be a really great feeling. And I guess this is my, Freemason side, but anytime you can help, I do a lot of charity work, by the way, Carrie. So, but anytime you can help people, it's, you know, I don't know, it's a feather in your cap to yourself and a nod to the universe that you're a good person.
Well, I appreciate that. And, you know, the last few months, I've said it before, so I apologize to anybody that's listens to the podcast every week and has heard me say it, but I had to find a way in the last few months to go from being sad that the station and that part of my life was gone to being happy and appreciative that it ever happened. And one of the things that I had a really hard time with was when the station was gone, all of those things that you just talked about that have been part of my life, I feared and had a few weeks where my reality in my head was that that part of my life was over and it was impossible to continue because I didn't have the radio station to be able to do it anymore. And once I kind of got through, I mean, I had a great conversation with Daryl McDaniels about grief, right? And once I was able to process the initial grief of the station being gone and kind of go through that emotion, that allowed me to realize I can still do all of those things. I can still help those bands. I can still do all the charity work that I did before and be part of this community and be able to move forward. I just needed to create a new way to do it. But I had some dark weeks, man.
And even on a bigger level, you know, and you mentioned 3 words, right? Fear, change, and grief, right? So first of all, I'm a Taurus, so I hate change. If I come home and someone has moved like the fan from where I normally keep it, I'm like, what are you doing? It doesn't go here. Like I trip out, right? So change is very difficult. Got to learn to roll with it because at least 75% of the time, change leads to something better. Fear, never lead your life on fear. If I had any fear, I wouldn't day trade. So don't ever live your life on fear, you know? And grief is something that can be extremely positive. We're all going to have grief. Take that grief in, embrace that grief, learn from that grief, come out of that grief a stronger person, and then move on and try to avoid in the future what gave you grief. Or if grief comes to you again, you'll learn how to deal with it. So that's how I operate. You know, I take those things separately and I put them in a little box and I think about them. But you're doing things on a bigger level right now, you know, and you're getting to, you know, the kid in Spain, the kid in the UK. You know, you could never do that before. It was you in Boston. Now the kid in New York, the kid in LA, you know, just listening to music can chime in and can hear from you what you're doing. So I think this thing's going to be a really positive thing. And if you start branding it, you just start getting other bands on. Look, I know this. I know the whole community will support you. I mean, the minute you said, hey, you want to do my podcast? Well, did you hear anything other than sure? You know what I mean? It was a done deal. And I think that everybody around you will support you. I mean, it's a difficult thing to do something for 15, 20, 25 years, and then all of a sudden the door closes. And people have it happen all the time. I worked at the factory for 20 years. They closed their doors. What am I going to do? You know, there's no difference between AAF, Coal Chamber, and that factory. Doors close, and then other doors open. Or if they don't open for you, you got to learn how to kick the fuck out of that door and kick it harder than anything. Persistence is a huge thing in life. I take that with me to the grave. If I hadn't been persistent in everything in my life, from pursuing my wife to my different careers and different businesses to the way I try to carry myself and my character throughout my career that I developed, like I don't even know what I'd do. So just, you know, look forward, be persistent, wrap up that grief in a little blanket, you know, Actually, you can call me off the line here, call me back, and I'll give you a little spell you can do. Go wrap it underneath a tree, bury it, 6 inches deep, and put dirt over it, and it'll be gone, But you gotta face all that stuff in life, right? It's the people who go, I can't face this grief, or I can't face this change, or I can't face this fear. First of all, I was always raised by my stepfather with, he always used to say, never say can't. Because, when you're 6 or 5 or 7, I can remember motorcycle riding at 6 years old with my family, and I got my second bike, and it was a little too big for me, actually. I was a little kid. I mean, I'm still only 5'7.5", so I was a little kid, and I was like, I can't get on it. You know what I mean? My dad's like, never say can't. I don't ever want to hear you say can't again. That's the word in our family. Never say can't. And that stuck with me. It really stuck with me. And, sometimes people need to hear that too. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're in a place in your life where, you're not feeling it, you're not feeling life, you're not feeling it, you got to learn that right around the corner is another sunny day. Right around the corner is another rainy day, whatever you enjoy best. I mean, it's going to be triple digits here this weekend, so I could take some rain right now. But that's the way I've always looked at life, and I've carried myself that way, and you should as well.
I've always been very motivated by the word no.
Oh, that's the best. Oh, that's the best. That's the best. Now, here's the thing. If you hear the word no and you turn away, you've lost. No, and you'll blame it on someone else. They said no. It's like, no, they said no, but you didn't come back for more. You didn't try to kick the door down. I'm going to tell you how many jobs I had that said, oh, we're not hiring. And I'd go back 2 days later, 3 days later. I told you, kid, we're not hiring. And I'd go back a week later. All right, come on in. So many times in life. So, the word no can be a very empowering thing, right? And then you turn around and you're like, why did you say no? And if they can't give you an answer, then you're like, right, I'll be back. I'll be back in a day or two or a week or until you call the cops. But either way, I'm coming back. And that's, I think that's the Italian Portuguese in me, though. It's
totally. Totally.
Don't bring a knife to a gun party because I'm coming.
One of the other things that I've learned, especially over the last few months, I mean, I've gone through a lot of things in my life and a lot of really hard things. And most recently, getting divorced a few years back and whatever. And this by far, losing the radio station has by far been the worst. And the other thing that I really learned through this whole process is for some reason, when the shitstorm is at its worst, right? When you're standing in the middle of that F5 tornado, for some reason, that is when I am at my best. And I don't know what kind of fucked up person that makes me, but for some reason, when the world goes into crisis, it's like that's when I find my center and when I get really calm and really focused and I'm really good in that situation. And it's like I get more scatterbrained the more happy I become. It's so weird.
It's a survivor mentality. And if you don't carry it with you, you lose. I've had a lot of grief in my life, right? I've had suicides in my life. I've had stepfathers commit suicide. I've had a lot of just real negative shit. And if you don't carry yourself as a survivor, you don't keep yourself in a positive head frame, you'll fall prey to the darkness that is what humans can be. That's the bottom line there, right? Music, let's get back to this, right? Music is a savior of a lot of things. Music, and you've pushed music, I've pushed music for 25 years. So if we can save one person with a lyric, save one person with a riff, save one person with a show, you can save one person with a radio show, you can save one person with, you turning somebody on to a new band, that's a huge deal. So I think survivor is a key word, and it's why you do so well in those F5 storms, right? And whereas a lot of people just would cover their face from the debris circling around them and start crying in their hands, well, that's no way to go through life, And I was raised pick yourself up by your bootstraps, buck up, don't cry, don't bitch, don't moan, never say can't. All the fucking cliches that it's funny, all the cliches that I've raised 3 boys on, right? But it's true. And if you want to raise good men or good people in this society, then you've got to have that feeling, right? You know, so there may be somebody listening to this podcast right now just lost their job, you know, last week, and they've got a family of 4, you know, and they're contemplating suicide. Like, you never know, right? So I'm just saying, fuck that. You need to be a survivor. And you need to survive for yourself, for your family, for everyone around you. Change is normal. Change can be good. So yeah, you were born. And look, I think that hashtag blue collar, which we're going to definitely get tattooed in the next year, right? I think that helps your space of mind and my space of mind, because I don't come from a place where, you know, I was born with any kind of spoon in my mouth, you know. And most society out there listening right now comes from a blue collar background, right? So with that should come this resilience, is what I'm getting to. You know, if you come from that blue collar working class background where you've been working since you're a kid and job to job or whatever, and just trying to get through, you have a resilience about you that is the epitome of America. And I love it. I love it. And I just try to tell people to stay up. So, you know, you come from a place that deals well in the storm, so you can tell people to stay up and keep their head positive as well, you know?
Yeah, Bostonians are a certain breed of people, that's for sure.
Oh, shit. I had 3 of them in DevilDriver for like 15 years. I totally get it.
I know that this is very personal, so I'm going to preface it by saying I'm not going to push. I want you to talk about however much of it that you're comfortable. But I need to ask the question, because we're talking about resilience and staying positive and going through hard times. But as a guy, your perspective on this is really important, I think, not only for the girls that are listening, but also for the guys that support them. Do you mind talking about Anastasia and about what it's been like supporting and nursing her with everything that you guys have gone through? I know you've posted about it, so I'm not giving away any secrets, but all of these things that you're talking about, this isn't just lip service for you. These are things that recently, these beliefs in you have been tested in a major way.
Yeah. So 2019, I'm done with a double record and getting ready to commit to touring and get ready to commit to releasing. And all of a sudden there's wildfires in my area. So we got to leave the house twice. We leave the house, we pack up everything, we pack up the animals, leave all my lowrider cars, the things I've collected in my life, everything, and we leave. I don't think I'm going to see it again, because I literally am looking out my door at, 200 foot of flames coming over the hill. It's already devoured a house near us. So we're probably done here. So this happens twice. As we get over that, 2-3 months later down the line, I'm sitting on the beach with Anastasia, and she's like, she's red hair, fair skin, and crazy enough, our slogan for Sun Cult is worship the sun. And she looks down like on her knee, and she's got this little mole. She's like, I just don't like this little mole. And I'm like, you got moles? You're a redhead. You got moles. She's like, no, I don't like this. We need to get it checked. I said, okay, we're going. Sure enough, a week later, I get the phone call, and she has cancer. So my kid woke up that morning, Simon. The first thing I said is, go downstairs, talk to your mom. Mom has cancer. We're going to have to deal with some heavy shit here as a family. Like, just let's do this, right? Now, the kind of family we are, you're either going to spiral out of control, you're going to cry yourself through it. Like, nah. We went to work on the downstairs room and built her a fucking tiki bar that looks like Trader Sam's at Disneyland. It's like, and that's like what we did, is like as a team, as a family, to get her through her multiple surgeries and, tests and all of this to get her clean and clear, which, by the way, she's just got her 2 weeks ago, just got her 6-month clear of cancer. So woohoo.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And here, we don't know if we're going to lose, their mom. I don't know if I'm going to lose it's hard for me to talk about it.
I know. And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't want to push you.
But it's all good. It's all good, because I want to share with people, because it is what happens, right? And I always said to her, look, someone's going to go before someone. You're going to go before me. I'm going to go before you. We got to deal with it how we deal with it as a family. So yeah, we we changed the whole downstairs area. We moved like our pool table downstairs, and Al Jurgensen from Ministry gave me this huge like video game that has like asteroids and all this stuff on it, like a full size video game. We moved that. We got tiki mugs, and like we went crazy, man. We built her this tiki bar that's so insane. When people come in, all these colored lights and stuff, people come in like, whoa, what is this? We're like, it's Anastasia's tiki bar. And she sat at that bar every night. And she still drinks. I don't, which is great. I could sit with her. She catches a buzz and I roll a fat joint. And she's listening to Donna Summer on vinyl. And
who's a Bostonian, by the way.
Yeah, oh, Donna Summer's a Bostonian, Stasia. Oh, yeah, and so she's listening to Donna Summer's live record, like, I mean, every night, right? Like, and it's like we're all sitting up here at this bar that we got from the Mayan Theater in L.A. It was from the 1960s, from the VIP room. It's beautiful. And we put it up, and she sat here every night listening to vinyl, having cocktails, and, like, hanging with the family, and we kept our head up. And I think because we kept our head up and because we kept on the appointments and because we didn't let her fall into a fucking slump, I mean, don't get me wrong, the first, I would say the first 24 hours were extremely difficult, where I had to finally say, okay, that's it. We're done. We're done crying. We're going to fucking beat this thing. It doesn't matter what happens. She said, what happens if I got to, shave my dreads? It's got long red dreads. What happens if I shave? I said, I'll shave my fucking head too. Who cares? I said, who cares? I said, we'll shave our head. We'll tattoo our fucking heads. I said, so I thought here, I would lose my best friend, but she came through it. And there's probably, I don't even know how many families listening to this that it might be going through the same thing. And all you got to do is keep your head up, keep to your appointments, keep your head up. And then you got to realize too, that this whole thing is just a mortal coil. You're only here for so fucking long. That's it. So take advantage of it. Be kind to people, try to hang with your family, try to make the right moves. I mean, all of us slip up and make shitty moves, all of us have done, made shitty moves, but try to do your best as a human, so one day, I mean, I don't know what your beliefs are, and frankly, I don't even know what mine are, but one day, if you meet your maker, you're able to at least, look the cloud in the eye and go, hey, I did it, right? Yeah, you did it. You were good to people, right? So, yeah, I don't mind talking about it. The whole thing that comes from this is strength. If you don't, I mean, this seems to be our whole conversation now. If you don't have positivity and strength in your life, you're done. That's it. And it doesn't matter what happens. If cancer hits you or whatever, if you don't have it, you're done, and who knows who's next, really, right? So, yeah, that's that. That's what happened over here.
Well, that's part of the reason why I asked you is that, I'm surrounded by a lot of amazing men in my life. I've always had, it was funny that you mentioned it earlier about, me and Anastasia meeting each other, but I've always been one of those women that was just surrounded by male energy in a way. I mean, it's just always been that way. And so many of the guys that I know, it's hard to talk about. And that's why I asked you, because the women in their lives, their backbone, the idea that, like, women are the nurturers. So if their man gets sick or their partner gets sick, it's their instinct to just nurture them and care for them. But as a man, and your instinct is that protection, and you can't protect her from cancer. And so that's why I asked you that, because from a guy's perspective, because there's got to be a lot of guys listening right now that are feeling that powerlessness, that you can't just go out and kick this thing's ass on behalf of your family, that you have to now become this nurturer that may or may not be part of your makeup and instinct.
Absolutely. I mean, look, you wrap your dark wings around them. That's what you do. You open your wings, you wrap your wings around them, and you're like, I'm here. I immediately tore down 2 huge tours. I immediately tore down the record and said, record's not coming. I mean, much to the chagrin. I had agents calling me, other people calling me, other managers calling me. Record labels were freaking out on me. I remember one conversation I had with someone in the business that was like, you have to do this tour. And I was like, what the fuck didn't you understand? My wife has cancer. Shut the fuck up. Don't ever call me again. And we as men, like, yeah, I can have 2 Glocks by the side of the bed and a double-barreled fucking pistol fucking grip shotgun, it don't matter. I can't protect her from cancer. So you just be there. You be a trooper. You know, I just did for her, and the kids did for her, because me and all of the sons were at every fucking thing. Every time she went for a surgery, every time she went for a checkup, we're there. We all go. We drop everything. It doesn't matter what we have to do. And thus, I've been home for a very long time right now, because I wanted to stay home until she got her 6 months okay. You know, now she got her operations in November of last year, but she couldn't go in because of COVID, and we were really scared of that. You know, it's like, hey, we're supposed to come in. We're supposed to nope, can't come in this month. It's like, oh, well, hello. You know, my wife just had cancer. We need to come in and do some blood tests, make sure we're out of the woods, you know. So a couple weeks ago when we went in for that test and had to wait for, I think it was 48 hours for the okay to come through that she was clear. I mean, it's difficult, you know. I mean, I'm not, you know, she broke down on the way to the hospital to get her tests. And I said, what's going on? She's like, I don't know. It's like PTSD. I don't want to go back to that hospital. Are you fucking kidding? The hospital's beautiful. The doctors were amazing. They fucking saved your life. Why would you not want to walk into that room? And she's like, I'm thinking about it a different way now. And I go, exactly. The doctors were amazing. The hospital was amazing. They saved your life. Why would you not want to go back there? I go, as a matter of fact, when we leave today, we're sending them chocolate strawberries. And we did send them like 48 chocolate strawberries. So I don't know. Look, we're all here, and this is part and parcel to the conversation that's going on with the whole rest of the world and everything that's going down right now, from COVID to fucking, to everything that's happening in the United States. Like, we are all one people. Either we're in a small little family group, or we've got a ton of family friends around the world. We are all one, and as long as we watch out for each other, and this is what's been going down in America, people aren't watching out for each other. As soon as we start watching out for each other, black, red, brown, white, gray, green, it doesn't matter, then it'll be a different world here. You know, humanity has yet to reach its fucking full potential, right? I mean, it is so far from reaching its full potential, and we can only try to reach that potential within ourselves, within our own family group. So, yeah, I'm proud to say she's cancer free, and we helped her beat it. And we built a hell of a fucking tiki bar. So
someday I'm going to belly up to that bar, Dez. I want one of those cocktails.
You will. I told her back in my drinking days, I would have lived here, man. This is amazing what we put together. I'll send you a short video later on tonight when we have it all lit up. But, you know, life deals you some shit, right? So I had one kid on Instagram, I don't know when it was, maybe a month or two ago. It's like, you know, I said something about being positive. It's like, easy enough for you to say, Dez, you know, you're a rock star, you're a millionaire, you got it all. And I came back to that kid with 15 fucking paragraphs of, really, dude, you know, we're all the same. We all go through the same shit. I pay water and power bills just like you, you know, you probably can go to work during COVID. I cannot, you know. For my other main job, you know, as a singer. So I don't know. I've always had you're probably the same. I'm going to ask you, I have a very hard time dealing with egotistical or privileged people. I have a very difficult fucking time with it. And I would bet, from who you are, the woman that I know you as to be, and where you come from and your background, you probably have a very hard time dealing with that too. And I would bet, as someone who ran, you know, one of the biggest radio shows in the nation, you probably came against a fucking shitload of ego that I'm sure at the end of the night turned you off and made you want to spit on the ground. I can guarantee it.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear some of it.
It's so, yeah. I mean, well, when it comes to the people that I interacted with over the years at the radio station, the fortunate thing for me was that there was really no reason for anyone to be an asshole to me, because I'm only there to help you, right? That I'm only there to help promote your music, promote your tours. Like, I'm not asking you for anything other than some of your time to talk to me, or to maybe take a picture with me, or, hey, can you sign this so we can give it away at the radio station? Like, I'm not asking for money from you, right? I'm not coming to you asking you to invest in my restaurant or something. So there were very few instances where I had issues with overactive egos where people were like, I was like, wow, that guy is a fucking prick. But for me,
name names. Come on, name names. I want to hear it.
I only had 2 negative interactions. One of them, sadly, he's passed, and I have a feeling that it was his addiction talking when it happened. But I had a very negative interaction with Scott Weiland once during an interview.
Understood.
And it really made me sad because I'm such a huge fan, and I had met him previously, and it wasn't like that. And it was over the phone, so it was really strange because it's like it's hard to read people that you don't really know all that well when you're not looking at each other. And then the other negative interaction that I had was in person in my studio. And again, it really bummed me out because I'm such a huge fan. But I had a really negative interaction with Dave Navarro. And it bummed me out because I was like, dude, like what? Where is this coming from right now? Like, what is going on right now? And out of the 22 years, those are the only 2 instances I had expected. I'll tell you this. I expected, before I met him the first time, I expected to have a hard time with Rob Zombie for some reason. I think it was just...
sweetest guy.
Sweetest guy ever. He's amazing. But I was so nervous for some reason the first time that I interviewed him because I don't know why. I never heard anything negative about him, but I was intimidated thinking that maybe he wasn't going to be nice. And shame on me. Because when I met him, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, nicest guy. I mean, you know what? Dave Navarro... I'm doing the Revolver Awards. I'm sitting there on the red carpet with my press people. I've got my wife next to me on my arm. They come up to me and like, okay, Dez, you're next. I cue myself up to the press. I've got a long red carpet to walk and talk to 40 people on the way down. A dude stands right in front of me, looks back at me, and then begins to walk. And I thought to myself, who the fuck is this? This is Dave Navarro. And I thought to myself, dude, I'm a huge Jane's Addiction fan, right? Never really met you, right? But don't you know I could fucking yoke you up right now? I could choke you out right the fuck now for doing that. And I realized, that's the blue collar in me, going, hey motherfucker, you're not in line for this fucking cheeseburger. I am. So. Yeah, I mean... It
was so funny. He came into the studio, right? And I'm going to interview him or whatever. He comes in the studio. He was late getting there. And the first thing he did was light a cigarette in the studio, right? And I go to him. I go, hey, you can't smoke that. You can't light that in here. And he gave me attitude about it. And I was like, look, I get it. You want to have a cigarette. You're a rock star, whatever. I go, let me explain something to you. There's something in here called a halon system because we're in a radio station that's full of electronics. If you smoke that cigarette, that thing's going to activate, the halon's going to come out, and it is going to suck all the oxygen out of this room. And I'm going to make it out because the door's right there, but you're so far away from the only way in and out of this room, you're probably going to suffocate and die before you make it out, and I'm getting out.
Dude, I've heard that several times in radio stations. Actually, Mancow, when I was on Mancow, he said he had the same thing with all of his equipment because we were going to light up weed, obviously.
Yeah, and you'll die. You'll suffocate and die in there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if he's a nice guy or not. I just know that that's the only one experience that I had with the cat. And, I mean, look, if I ever met him, again, I would just say, hey, what's up? But, it often fucking boggles my mind. I don't know, dude.
Maybe you just get somebody on a bad day. Because I've had people come to me a lot too and say, oh, you're friends with so-and-so, or oh, you know so-and-so. I met him once and they were a dick. And it's like, at the end of the day, there's always that chance that I just got him on a bad day, right?
Oh, look, I got hit up on my social media. It's like, dude, I met you once. You were such an asshole outside the bus. And I thought to myself, okay, was I running in to call my kid because he's graduating? Was I running in to get an emergency call from my wife? Was I running out to find a fucking bathroom? Was I running in to get my ear monitors because I was going on stage in 15 minutes? Like, you can't always be accommodating in this industry. You just can't, you know, but you try to fucking do your best. You know, look, I can remember touring with Superjoint Ritual and watching outside my bus, a kid, it's raining, pouring rain. I believe we were on the East Coast, pouring rain. And I went out there, I signed his stuff real quick. And he's like, thanks so much, man. He ran to his car, right? And I look over by the Superjoint bus, and there's two kids out there completely drenched. And the only one that was on the bus at the time was Hank 3. And Hank walked right out in like pajamas or some shit, you know what I mean? And like sat out in the rain, signed for these kids, and went right back up on the bus. And I thought to myself, okay, yep, there we go. Like, and that's how it has to be. You know, if you want to have a long career, which fortunately I've had, you've got to be attentive to the people who support you, you know? So I try to never be that guy, you know, but occasionally you're going to run into it. You know, it's like, you know, you might catch me on a wrong day when I don't really feel like talking, or you're like, you know, and that's just what it is. But if you're a public figure, which we all are, you included, you kind of gotta come out of your shell and be like, oh, hi, how are you? Okay, nice to meet you. Thanks for listening, you know?
Well, they don't call me the baddest bitch in Boston for no reason, right? Like, I call it flipping the bitch switch. Like, I can be the nicest. People have said to me, like, wow, you're nice. I didn't expect that, which is hilarious. But, like, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, don't push me to flip the bitch switch, because that's Sicilian Portuguese blue-collar person's going to come out, and you ain't going to like it very much.
That's it. And, you know, it's what I always say, too. I say the same thing. I said, look, I can be your nicest friend, man. Like, if you need me at 3 a.m., I'm going to go pick you up. But if you fuck with me, or you fuck with my family, or you try to actually fuck with me, I'll be one real mean some bitch. Yep. You know, and I'm a revenge guy. That's the Italian in me. Like,
yeah, ice cold too, right? Serve it ice cold.
Ice cold. Sit back, wait like a sea snake on the bottom of the ocean. Take slow bites out of you until you're done. You know, eventually, you know, people are like, oh, karma will get that person. Fuck karma. I'm coming for. So, you know, I think you gotta have that, right? I mean, that's in essence. First of all, as a family man, if you don't have that, you can't protect your family. So you need to have that. And if you don't have that, you can't protect Wednesday, your pup. You know, so everybody's going to need that. Which, by the way, it's hilarious. Your dog's name is Wednesday, because I manage Wednesday 13. He's one of the my favorite artists.
I know. I saw that and was like, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite guys.
She her handle on Instagram is Wednesday the Goth Pug.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much.
She has helped me. You know. She has helped me so much during this whole lockdown, quarantine, coronavirus thing. Like, that companionship has meant so much. Just having her around when no one else was around to talk to is crazy.
Oh, man.
You know? I
said this in an interview 2 days ago. I said, you know who's winning? I said, the fucking animals. The dogs are winning.
Totally.
We're home 24/7. You know, we have rescues. So I have a Great Dane, a Doberman, and I had 4 cats. 2 of them passed away this year. But it's okay. They're 21 years old. So they lived very long. So I still have one of them who's 20, and then another one that I rescued out here, a desert cat. I mean, I saw him drinking out of my pool. It's like 114 degrees, and he must have been like a week old. I have no idea how he's away from his mother, and rescued him like 10 years ago. So I've got 2 cats, a Doberman and a Great Dane. Everybody sleeps on the bed. You know, everybody's hanging out together, you know, and there's just something about animals, man. There's just, you know, I almost very weary, like, this is a great conversation, like, very weary of people who don't like animals. Like, oh no, I'm just not a cat or dog person. I'm like, really? Well, you should probably pack up and get the fuck out of my house, because I don't trust you. You know, or if they come in my house, and this only happened once, really, and my dogs that's all they do is growl for like 30 minutes, and I end up saying to that person, hey, you know, like, I know we had business or whatever, but, you know, today's not a good day. Like, I'm not really feeling it, and what I'm not really feeling is what my dogs are not really feeling. My dogs are letting me know, like, hey, this dude or this person, like, you don't want to deal with them. And sure enough, you know, a month later, they tried to fuck me in business. And I was like, man, my fucking Doberman, Piper, like, totally fucking right, you know? I mean, we call him Doodlebug because he's like the sweetest, Piper Doodlebug because he's the sweetest guy. But if you try to come in here and he doesn't know you, or if you come in here and he feels you and he feels the wrong energy, fuck, he raises his lip. I mean, and that's a scary thing because a Doberman can be a real mean animal. And my Dane is 200 pounds.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he's like a mini horse, and he's aggressive. Like he's not subtle by any means. So I got to really watch out for him because you can't get into a fight with him if you're another dog because you're done. But he was doing the same thing, like just growling and growling. And I said to the dude, I said, "Hey, we gotta postpone this a couple of days. Like I'm actually not feeling well right now." And I bullshitted him just to get him out of the house. And then my wife said, "What was up with the dogs?" He said, "I'm not going to do business with that guy." And sure enough, man, down the line, he tried to pull something squirrely. And little did he know I had 4 attorneys and enough money to bury him. So it's just it is what it is. You know, I love animals so fucking much, and the companionship is everything to me. They're loyal beyond fucking belief.
We don't deserve them. That's what I say. We just don't deserve them.
Yeah, I mean, if people could only be so loyal as my dogs, which I've been actually fortunate. I got a lot of really great friends, and you can kind of judge a man by the friends he has and by the friends that he doesn't. I've got a lot of really great friends and families that we hang out with in the neighborhood and stuff like that. But if everybody could be like a dog and have that kind of loyalty, it's just that, it's just something so fucking beautiful. It's the one thing that I can't stand is like animal abuse, like a human abusing an animal. Like I go insane. Like I see those ASPCA commercials and stuff of like dogs shivering in cages, and I'm like, dude, I gotta fast forward or I gotta donate. Like I can't.
Dude, I can't even listen to Sarah McLachlan because of those commercials.
Yeah, it really fucking messes me up, And now it's a felony, right? So that's like such a win for the animals, If you abuse an animal in California, it's a felony. So that's good. Go to jail, homie. Have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been to jail. It's no fun.
See, you're not that angel. You're not that angel.
No, but look, we try to be because we're surrounded by them, and that's it. So, no, I went to jail in my younger years for weed. So, which is funny because now the same street I got busted in Hollywood, like there's like 15 fucking dispensaries. So I'm like, really? I missed it by fucking 15 years. That's great.
Yeah, you did. If we had only known back in the day when we met that weed would be legal, I mean, I never would have believed it.
No, there was a time between 1989 and 1999 or 98 that if you got good weed in Hollywood, it was mine. I'll admit it. You got to have a little bit of hustle in you in life or fuck it.
That's right. Well, the one thing that constantly comes up with this podcast, because it's the one thing that brings us all together, no matter what your background is music. And I am holding out to the firm belief that we're going through everything with the coronavirus right now and not being able to go to shows and not being able to get together and go to concerts, and you guys can't tour. And I'm holding out belief that this is the precursor to a 2021 that is filled with the most amazing creative music and the best tours. As a musician, is that how you feel right now? What do you think the future of music is right now?
I mean, I'd love to say that. I mean, look, there's two things that I want to talk about, and that's I don't know if I feel that to be true in 2021, just because I've been talking to some people.
Oh, boy.
Right? And I don't know if that's how I feel. I'd like to keep it positive and be like, fuck yeah, let's get some shows going, but I'm not sure. And then again, I'm seeing a lot of people hold their records back and not deliver records because it's not a good business move to deliver a record in the middle of a pandemic when you can't tour on it, et cetera, it's going to sell less. And I made the opposite move. I didn't do the business move. I made the people move. I said, well, people need music now. I'm going to release Dealing with Demons because that's exactly what I'm doing with On This Double record is dealing with demons, and every song is very literal to something I've dealt with in my life and had to put in my past. So let's put that out now during the pandemic. and then we shift to what we think 2021 is going to be. And I don't know if second lockdown is coming, if, no, you're not going to be allowed more than 100 people in a room. If venues, like, if that's not even going to be a thing. Right now in Europe, they're building COVID venues where you actually sit with partitions between you. And then I saw this other concert that somebody sent me from some big pop star in Germany or whatever. And literally there's families bringing their own like plastic, it looks like essentially a plastic box that goes around them, whatever chairs there is, 2, 3, 4 chairs around them. And then the front is open so they can see the concert, but it's, all enclosed. I really don't know what's going on. I try to listen to it all, right? Mainstream media and the real underground dark stuff that said, oh, this is all going towards cashless society, and which is true. We drove through Jack in the Box to get a Coke the other day. They're like, oh, we're not taking money. I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? And then you go into Lowe's, Home Depot, I got to get something for like a sprinkler that broke or whatever, kids outside broke one of my sprinklers. Get off my lawn, right? And I went to go get a sprinkler, and they're like, oh, by the way, there's a coin shortage in the USA, so we're not taking or giving coins. And I thought, So I don't know what this is. I don't know, I don't know, like all of us, I don't know, is it man-made? Is it not man-made? Did it get let loose from China? Was it let loose from our country to China? What is this for a bigger purpose? Or is this just, it's an accident. We all better fucking help each other as a world and let's get through this? Like, I don't know. I really don't know. It's a crazy situation. That being said, I'm booking tours. I've got a huge tour that's getting ready to announce for DevilDriver with 4 major, big bands. And hopefully it's going to go out April, May next year. But I just don't know. And I'll tell you now, I'm in California, and it's out of control here.
Yeah, well, here in Massachusetts, we got it early. Like New York and New Jersey got it really, really early. And then shortly thereafter, Massachusetts got hit. Just, this past week, we went to phase 3 of the reopening, and fitness centers are open now. And, it's still scary, but.
What I don't like is when you listen to, like, let's just say The Who, right? The British guy from The Who, and not the band.
Yeah, the World Health Organization.
The World, right? And I taped it, and he literally said, "What's happening?" This is I'm almost going to quote him. Try to quote him. What's happening here is coronavirus has moved into the family unit. And what we need to do now is go door to door and remove anyone in that family unit that has COVID and take them to a safe place where they can quarantine.
Yeah, that's not happening, bro.
And I thought to myself, dude, the minute I see that, you're going to hear, chick, chick, what's that? Oh, it's a shotgun, homie. Because you're not coming in my house. You're not taking my kid. You're not taking my wife. You're not taking me if we have a sickness. We'll go to the hospital. We'll do what we need to do. But here's this cat with a British accent, saying, hey, in America, what we got to do is go door to door and take people out of their houses. And I thought to myself, bro, do you know who you're dealing with? Have you heard of Plymouth Rock?
Yeah.
What, so I really don't know. And look, I got a lot of people Wednesday 13 wants to talk a lot of conspiracy theory stuff with me, right? Have you heard this? Have you seen this? It really means this, and then even the mainstream news, it's just like channel to channel, they say the same shit. 33 new cases in Texas, 33 new cases in Oklahoma, 33 cases in San Francisco today, 33 new cases in LA. And I'm thinking to myself, who the fuck is writing your script? So what I did, and keep in mind this, we saw this coming in December. So I told my parents, who live on a ranch 10 minutes from me, get ready. This thing's going to come to the United States. We're going to be locked down. Everything is going to stop in the United States. Everyone's going to be out of their jobs. And my mom's like, you're insane. Talk to me when you're fucking clear. Okay? And here it comes. In January, we went on lockdown January 5th. And I'm talking pantry stocked, 8 months of dog food, bullets, you name it, in case it got really edgy, right? And here it came. So what I have been doing is this. I'll allow myself like 15 minutes of news. That's it. And it may be like a couple little conspiracy things, Dr. Bouchard, and see what he's saying. Whoa, that's far out. Okay, that's tripping me out, and then let's go to the mainstream media, what they're saying. Okay, let's see how the stock market is reflecting everything. All right, cool. I'm going to go outside and check my tomatoes.
Yeah.
There's because in all honesty, we as worker units, which is all we are, to the big banks, big corporations, the Rothschilds, et cetera, is worker units. We can't do anything about it other than go along with what they say until it starts really encroaching on what we feel is our viable freedoms. So we have to really take a look at that. And that's why you're seeing a lot of, before Black Lives Movement, you saw a lot of marches in the streets like, hey, open back up the economy. You saw people in Michigan with guns going to the governor, going to the State Department going, hey, we're here in force, open back up the state. And then you see what's going on with racism in America. I mean, everything is due for a change, and I had a guy who works, I want to say 24/7 since the day I met him. He's in his late 60s. And he said, hey, you know what? Maybe America needed this. And I said, why? Maybe people need to slow down and have dinner with their family. And I thought, that's a good way of looking at it. Like, if I'm going to look at it, let's look at it like that. And look, but you can't look past the death. You can't look past, my old drummer, from DevilDriver spent 3 days, I think, either 2 or 3 days in the ICU. And he's from Boston. He's a Bostonian, right? And he spent fucking 3 days in the ICU on a ventilator, man. So it's real. So no matter what you're saying, like, it's real, and nobody wants to get it. And if I'm going out, I'm wearing a mask. And the other day there was somebody standing behind me in line for something. I had to get something, and oftentimes we're having deliveries or whatever, but if I have to, I'll run out. And this dude was literally like up on me, man. No mask, up on me, plainly not standing on the X that everybody's put 6 feet apart in stores or whatever. And I looked right back at him. I said, A, you don't have a mask, and B, you need to stand the fuck back. And he's like, what? Don't talk to me like that. I'm in America. I said, if you'll be in America on the fucking ground if you don't get 6 feet the fuck away from me right now. So it's a dangerous situation, and I don't know where it's going. And we'll have to probably get back on the phone in February or March of next year just to see what has transpired, right? I'm hoping that all goes back to normal. We get some kind of herd immunity. You pray for all the people who lost family members, because there's a lot of death out there. And, what have we learned from this? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to take away from it at this point. So I have nothing really to offer like that.
Well, I can tell you what to take away from it. I've been a zombie doomsday prepper for years, getting made fun of. And I can't tell you how many of my friends have called me in the last 4 months and been like, okay, you're not crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, my mom was, telling me, you're nuts. I said, well, I got my pantry stocked for 9 months. I've got, this, that, the other thing, and she's like, you're insane. This is never going to happen. And she apologized later. Wow, no way. Look what's happening. And I said, yeah, it's done. So let's just see what's going to happen. I mean, doomsday prepper is such a harsh word. It's like, what is wrong with prepping your family? What is wrong with having extra food or, maybe a shotgun? You never know what the fuck is going to happen in life. And you need to be able to protect your family, either with food or with guns or dogs or, whatever it is. You need to be able to prep and protect your family. And it's those people, right, who weren't prepped, who were buying toilet paper by the fucking dozens or whatever, it's like, and it's hilarious to me, right? It's like, what are you buying? You're buying toilet paper. It's like, now, no kidding. It may run out, and it did run out all over the country, but you're not buying food, like canned goods. Like, dude, there's, cases of peaches there. Like, maybe you should get some of those. What I mean?
You can wipe your ass with a lot of stuff. Ask anyone in the military that's ever served overseas. You can get creative when it comes to wiping your ass.
Totally. I agree. I mean, so I don't know. It's really, it's insane. It's insane to see what's going on. For us, and I catalog it just like this. It's like, finish a record, went through wildfires, went through cancer, then a pandemic, now riots and looting, and what's next?
Don't ask that question. We got murder hornets and fucking all kinds of crazy ass shit. And aliens.
Right? Yeah. Hey, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, we just want to glance over that. But the government came out and said, right, look, here's a UFO. I mean, they've never said that before. Right. Very plain and simple. Look, here is a UFO. And no one said a word about it. Right. Or they found green, I think it's the Russians or the Chinese who are up on the moon now. They found green goo up on the moon. It's like some green goo glass stuff that they didn't know existed. Like that's getting washed over. You know, we had SpaceX went up and down, right? Up, orbited, came back down. Like that kind of got glanced over. So it's a trip. I just got to see where everything is going, man. Look, this is really critical. I had a manager that I worked with for a very long time, a guy that I definitely, he's in my heart daily. His name is Steve Davis. He's a really, really fucking great band manager. And we're still good friends to this day. But he said to me one day when I was worrying about something, Dez, you got to watch the movie play itself out. And I went, what? The fuck are you talking about? We got to script this movie. We got to go in. We got to call. We got to do this. We got to do that. He goes, Dez, you never walk into a movie and try to script the ending. Have you ever done that? No, I don't actually. And he's like, watch the movie play itself out. And I think that's where we're at now. I think the end game to this is way down the line, and let's see what's really going to happen. It's either going to go away and life's going to be back to normal, or there's going to be cashless society and contract tracers going door to door, demanding a COVID card and all this crazy shit. I mean, we do not know. So let's watch the movie play itself out, and you and I will just keep emailing each other once a month going, wow, did you see that happen? Yeah, I saw it happen. You know, I saw it happen. So that's...
With the bigger questions of when are we drinking at the tiki bar? When are we getting our tattoos?
You're welcome to California anytime, and next time I'm in Boston, I'm going to have a tattoo artist come up on the bus, and we're going to get that fucking tattoo together.
Hell yeah,
Guaranteed.
Dude. I'm into it.
Guaranteed.
It's just not going to be on my face. I'm not as brave as you. I don't want it on my face.
Like I said, man, the kid at the bank has more tattoos. I mean, more tattoos on their face than I do now. It's so cool to fucking see.
I know, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, it's great. I love it. But I think you and I have always loved that kind of underground culture. You know, rock and roll, tattoos. You know, that whole thing. I've always loved underground culture. I think it's the goth kid in me. You know, some kid said, what's the metal band that started you out, man? I said, Bauhaus. They're like, okay.
Well, that's a theme that has come up in this podcast over and over again, is that the rock community is an example for the rest of the country on how to be accepting of people's differences, because we've been doing that all along. We are the outcast that made our own community, and we really don't give a fuck. Just if you love the music or what, just come on in. We're cool. And it's like,
right?
The rock and metal community now is an example to the rest of the world on how to be non-judgmental and accepting of people's differences.
Oh, I agree with that 100%. I couldn't have even said that better. You know, I couldn't have even said that better. You know, somebody said to me the other day, well, you'll never know what it's like to deal with discrimination in America. And I thought, you know, probably no, not on the level of some of my friends that are brown or black or Asian. No, I probably won't. Right. So I can't put myself in their shoes, nor can I talk to them or for them, I should say, or their race. But I can tell you this, as a kid who was tattooed at 15 and pierced at 16 and face tattoo, and nobody in their right mind would have tattooed their face. Yeah, I had a ton of discrimination. I mean, there was a point when Cold Chamber rolled into, I don't know where it was, but it was some truck stop, 2:00 in the morning in the middle of the South. And we went through the driver's doors where, like, if you're a truck driver, you're supposed to walk through these certain doors in the truck stop, whatever. We went through these doors and all these drivers stood up. They're like, you freaks, get the fuck out of here. You know, you're not supposed to be walking through that driver's door. You go around in this truck stop. We don't want you freaks out, you know, here. Well, I went right back to my bus. Don't think I didn't. You know, it's like 7 dudes, 6'4", you know, with a Southern accent. I was out, you know, and I told my bus driver, I said, as soon as you fill up, bro, let's get the hell out of here. Right. So, yeah, it's.
Now imagine that same story for me when I was a truck driving roadie, being the woman with purple hair walking through that driver's door, because that was my experience.
Okay. So you get it. I mean,
yeah, we've all had our weird issues. It's just, you know, sometimes
we do have a community. This heavy metal community, this rock heavy metal community is very, all inclusive. You know, I mean, we always have been. You always have been, and I think this community always has been. So, you know, that's the one good thing that I gotta say is that I belong to the heavy metal community. You know, and we are an all inclusive. If you like metal and you like it heavy, it doesn't matter what color your skin is. You know, you could be. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. Come on over to the music family.
Yeah,
So,
we don't care who you love. We don't care what color you are. We don't care what your religion is. We don't care about any of that stuff. It's that if you're of that rock mindset, you really don't belong anywhere else. So therefore, by default, you belong here.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, I mean, I could go into a really fucking heavy story, but, you know, Cold Chamber was touring with Seven Dust, and we were in a bar, and it was LeJean and I and a couple of the other guys. It was late night. I don't know if it was a night off or a night after the show or whatever it was, and somebody made a racial comment to LJ, who's black for your listeners, and I wasn't having it, and nobody else was having it, and I mean, a bar fight ensued, bar stools over backs. I mean, like a showdown happened in that bar. You know, the cops were called. You know, multiple people got their face busted in. It was insanity. So, yeah, we don't put up with it, and I've never really witnessed it within our scene. It's very much been an ingratiating scene and an ingratiating family of people that just basically say, if you like rock or heavy metal, like turn it up to 10 and come on over to my house. We're good to go.
Yeah. And there isn't a sweeter person on the planet than LJ. I mean, it's seriously,
oh,
it's
God,
like,
forget it. I love the kid. And I just say kid because he's younger than me, but I got a lot. I got a lot of respect for that guy. We did all of our first touring together, you know. I mean, I can't even tell you the times that we've had together, that guy and me. So, yeah, I mean, you know, if you're like, say you're listening to your podcast right now and like you're not really in the rock and heavy metal community, you don't really go to shows, you just kind of stumbled upon this podcast and what is this all about? Like, you got to know, I'm telling you now, our community is like all inclusive. We do not care. Come on out. We're all wearing black shirts anyways. Come on out, you know?
Yeah, it's all good. I just can't wait till we can all start getting together again because I miss that part of the community. I love being able to keep in touch with people when I go live in the war room. I love being able to do it on social media and with the podcast, but it's like, God, am I itching to just go to a show?
You know how it is when you walk out of a show, and you know how it is. It feels, you know, I hate this word, right? It's cathartic, right? But it's true. You walk out and it feels good. You know, maybe you were in the pit that night. Maybe you met your girlfriend that night. Maybe you saw, you know, the opening band that night. Now they're your favorite band. Like, there's just something about live music that brings people together that's so beautiful, man. And it doesn't matter if it's blues, rock, metal, punk rock. I mean, I listen to it all. You know, I've got a vinyl player and 300 records, and I mean, it's everything from blues to Don Ho. You know what I mean?
To Donna Summer.
Yeah, to Donna Summer. I mean, the thing is all music, man. It's something that brings family together. It's something that brings people together. And I just, you know, I hope that we can all carry on the tradition of going to live shows. And I just don't know when that will be again. And here's the thing. Even if they said, okay, we're all open, everybody's open. Are you going to feel comfortable going into a show with 1,200 people or 2,000 people at the House of Blues, whatever it is, packed in? Are you going to feel comfortable at this point in time? And I would say no. And I know a lot of other people that would say no. So let's watch this movie play itself out. We can't script it. There's a lot of players in what's going on right now. You know, I don't know what to believe. I just got to go with my gut and think that humanity is going to come out on top. You know, I started doing research on the 1918 pandemic, and it's like, whoa, that killed millions of people. Like, you know, and when they thought they had a handle on it, New York did a ticker tape parade, like, hey, we're done. And then it came back and slammed everybody. So that gives me the inclination that we shouldn't be opening up maybe so soon. You know, maybe we should keep it a little bit distant. Now, I know here in California, and specifically where I live in my county, bars, restaurants, all that are closed right now. So it's takeout only, and masks. I mean, masks are mandatory. I saw a kid get a ticket yesterday down my street. He's walking around, didn't have a mask on, and he was getting a ticket for not having a mask. And I thought to myself, good, because who knows right now? If we all just kind of respect each other, wear a mask, do a little social distancing, maybe we can get back to normal life. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever go on a cruise again. I'll be honest with you, because DevilDriver does a lot of cruise shows. And we were supposed to do the Knotfest cruise this year, and that got taken down. And I'm not real sure about flying at this point. And I got friends of mine that are like, oh, dude, I'm flying all over the place. It's amazing. No one's on the planes. And I'm thinking to myself, it's all okay until you find yourself in the ICU, homie. Because you think you're 26, you're not going to get this thing. So you got to watch out. I mean, let's see where it all goes.
I flew a month ago, and there's no drink service, there's no snacks. You got to wear a mask the whole time. And some of the flights, because I had a connection, some of the flights were more empty than others. Some of the flights on the smaller flights were pretty full, and walking around the airport with everybody with masks on, and there's nobody sitting at the bars in the airport. Like, you can get food and drinks, but you kind of got to go into the food court areas so that you can be distant. And you definitely couldn't get away from the fact that the world is a different place right now. And it was very intimidating. But for me, it was imperative. Like, we have to weigh it with the personal separation thing. And for me, I can't be with the one that I love because we don't live in the same state because of military service. So after 3 months, I was like, I'm going through like the craziest time in my life. I need to be with that person. And in order for me to do it, I either got to drive a bunch or I got to get on a short flight. And so I'm going to put my mask on and grab my hand sanitizer, and I'm going to get on that flight because my mental health needed it. And that's how you got to weigh out that mental health thing too,
That's very difficult. What branch is he in?
Marine Corps.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, my dad was in Army. He was in Nam when I was born. So
what's crazy is that's a really common thing. Your dad, Jacoby's dad, Tommy Veck's dad are all Vietnam veterans. It's really interesting that there's such a veteran community amongst so many people that got into music like that.
Yeah. So you got to be thankful for the ones that have served and the ones that are serving to protect this nation, because who the hell knows who's coming to assault our freedom. So yeah, I totally get it. And probably best for you to just get on that plane and go see him. That is it. I couldn't, at this point right now, I couldn't imagine being away from my family with all of this going on. Like, I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't imagine it. I'd get to him by submarine if I had to,
Yeah, it's like you got to do what you got to do. But at the same time, it's like, you have to see the greater purpose of it too. And you just go, okay, it makes you a stronger person. And you go, okay, well, they can't be here right now because they're dealing with something bigger. So yeah, I'm gonna keep the home fires burning, and I'm gonna be strong, and I'm gonna carry on. And like I said, I get really fucking focused in the middle of the tornado, man, and you just figure it out.
That's good. A lot of people need that, and you could probably impart that into a lot of people to just get focused in the middle of the tornado, Carrie. That's a very cool thing, I mean, let's just see where it goes. You and I should probably talk again, like around Christmas time.
Hell yeah, we can talk anytime, Dez.
Yeah, just so we can say, or around Halloween, just so we can say, okay, look what happened since June or July. Look what happened since July,
Well, you and I should talk around Halloween anyway, just because it's the greatest time of the year.
Oh, dude, the goth kid in me just can't even say the word without shaking. Halloween.
Right? I know. You're one of those people, like on Twitter, you follow it's this many days before Halloween countdown. And I'm like, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like that too. It's my favorite day of the year.
It's probably the only thing I retweet. I'm not really on Twitter that much anymore, but it's the thing I do retweet constantly is like, 222 days to Halloween.
Yeah.
120 days to you don't hear me saying, you don't hear me saying 200 days to Christmas.
Yeah. Well, plus we grew up in an era where, like, don't tell me you can't wear a fucking mask to Walmart. We had to trick or treat with those horrible plastic Halloween masks. You couldn't even breathe.
You know what? It's always been a huge thing with me, Halloween. Since I was a kid, and musically, certainly, I only got into metal, into punk rock because I kind of like it vicious and kind of like it violent and vicious, right? Other than that, I'm a goth kid to heart, really. I mean, you know, I made the joke, you know, with you earlier that, you know, a kid asked me what my favorite metal band was, and I said Bauhaus. You know, it's like, it is what it is. But Halloween has always like lived within me as I don't know, like a family time, a really cool time with my friends, you know, time to dress up, time to go be something fun, whatever it is, you know. I don't know. It's a very special time of year. I love the fall time. I mean, look, you live in Boston where fall is so amazing. I mean, I've been in Boston numerous times during Halloween, and like the foliage going off and the vibe of it is just,
and all the haunted
killer.
places you were talking about. It's just, there's no better place, in my opinion, to spend Halloween than in New England.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I will say that. No better place than the East Coast in Halloween time. That's definitely for sure. Because I mean, I'm lucky if I get change of seasons in California. You know, it's like 85 degrees last Halloween. You know, so it's kind of hard to like get in the vibe. But it's always been a special time.
Yeah.
Always with me. And we've got so many of the like Halloween houses and Halloween stuff that we set up. Like we've got like displays, and you know, I've got like 20 blow-ups that go in the front yard, you know, everything from the big dragon to the witch with the graveyard to the, you know, and all the kids in the neighborhood love coming to our house. We carve like 20, 30 pumpkins at least a year. Last year, I think we did 33 was the number. And so our whole front yard is like pumpkins, and we sit out there in costume. And I played like she was a witch last year. Excuse me. And I was like a zombie or something like that. And I would act motionless. So I looked like, you know, with my head slinked over, like I was a doll or something. And when kids would come up, man, I would just stand up and roar. Oh, it was hilarious. This one kid is like, oh no. This one kid's like, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 oh no. And he just like ran. It was awesome. You know, to feel that vibe is still in the air for kids, that Halloween thing. And I hope in the United States that never goes away. We'll see how we celebrate it this year.
Yeah, right. I know. I hope that social distancing, you know, can include Halloween, because it's just one of those. It's one of those. You know, trick or treating is that activity that, like, I still want to go trick or treating. It doesn't leave you.
I don't think they're going to be going door to door this year. It's just a weird vibe, right? Going door to door to a stranger's house and getting candy. Like in my day, it was like, yeah, go. Be back at whatever time, right? Now it's a weird vibe. Plus, with this whole thing going on, like, are you going to catch COVID from the candy? Are you going to catch COVID from the person? Like, I mean, are you going to go to a Halloween party and who's going to be there with COVID? Like, this whole thing. It's like a cloud hanging over everything. I just really want to see where all this goes. But yeah, back to Halloween. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. One of the best times in my whole entire life was when I came off a tour with Cold Chamber. I didn't have any home for years. I mean, I'm probably 6-7 years. And I'd either stay at a hotel in LA or I'd go stay with Ensemble, with Philip. And he, of course, loves Halloween. And it was all of us one night. It was like Jimmy Bauer, and it was like these dudes from Crowbar and dudes from another band, and all of us like in a van and cruising around going from haunted house to haunted house in New Orleans. And it was like probably one of the best Halloween times I've ever had in my life. And we visited like 3 or 4 huge haunted houses. Like we got pulled over by the cops. It was hilarious. And they found out there was Philip in the van. Everybody was cool. They just wanted signatures. And, you know, but we were very plainly like, you know, drinking, smoking weed. You know, it was highly illegal at the time. You know, and here we are, we're like running around haunted houses and stuff. It's just a very cool time. And you know, it's you go around the world, right? And it's just a huge traditional American holiday. So I was in Germany one time. We're playing in Germany, and it's Halloween night, and we dressed up to go on stage, and like black metal. It was hilarious, right? Like did our faces up all like black metal, and we were playing the Behemoth at the time, and they were opening for us, and they were like, "What is this?" And I'm like, it's Halloween. We're dressing up. They're like, oh, huh? And the crowd didn't even get it. There's one guy from an army base in Germany that dressed up, came and saw us. But otherwise, the whole crowd is like, huh? What is this? This is not DevilDriver. What is this? You know what I mean? So it's a uniquely American holiday that I hope doesn't get fucked up from everything that's been going on in this nation, from riots and unrest to COVID. I hope it stays strong, and we'll know, I mean, I can tell you this, that it's everywhere right now. So it's July, but everywhere we go, we're already seeing like fall stuff up and pumpkins up and all this. So it's starting early this year. So let's see what happens,
I'm not okay with the Christmas season being extended, but I am perfectly okay with the Halloween season being extended. I'm totally fine with that.
Oh, yeah. We, in September 15th, we decorate our house for Halloween. And then November 10th, we take it down. There's still a little bit that remains because we have like a black Christmas tree with all these Halloween ornaments that stays up in one area, and then the Christmas tree comes up as well. But we part and parcel like leave it up a bit, right? But it runs for 2.5 months at this house. I mean, my kids, my sons, who all are tattooed, all have like pumpkins tattooed on them, haunted trees, shit like that. So they were raised with it. So let's see what's going to happen. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting time, and you just got to remember what I said, like watch the movie play itself out. This is the most interesting movie I've been in my entire life. This is some nutty shit.
Well, it's shocking that you chose to release the new DevilDriver album right smack dab in the middle of Halloween season on October 9th. I wonder why you chose to do that, Dez.
Well, it was slated actually to come out 2019.
No, I know, but it just that's the season we're talking about.
I did it because of the Halloween season for sure, and I'll tell you this too. The reason I did it is because it's not a good business move to release a record during a pandemic. I'll tell you that, but it's a people move, and I think the people appreciate it. And if you're a fan of DevilDriver or anything I've done in the past, you'll be a fan of the fact that I want to give you music right now. You're at home, you're locked in, you're regulated. You're regulated to do certain things in your life, and you can't go certain places. Like, I want to give you music, and I wish every band would do that right now that's sitting on a record, because it's getting people through. So yeah, we're releasing October 9th around the Halloween season, and that's the best time for me. I love that season.
Well, I am so happy that we got to catch up today. I'm so glad to hear you got great news about Anastasia and that you guys are faring well during all of this craziness. And I really value the friendship that we've had for so long now, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate your continued support through all of this new rebirth for me and all of these new endeavors that I've jumped headfirst into.
I think you're going to do it, and you're going to do it well. I really believe in you, and you got to remember that I think without you, I don't know where my career would have been. And anybody who really got broken out by being on your show that doesn't say that is missing the boat. So I thank you, and I appreciate our friendship as well, and everything you've ever done. And it's great to reconnect, and it's cool to talk 25 years later on a podcast, about Dave Navarro. It's actually hilarious to me, right? It's because none of this shit matters. You are not what you do. Like, what's the first thing you do when you meet somebody? Hey, what's going on? I'm so and so. Oh, cool. What do you do? Like, why the fuck is that the first thing we ask somebody? What do you do? Instead of like, oh, cool, what kind of person are you? You do any charity work? You got a family? Oh, you rescue dogs or anything? Who are you as a person, right? And I think none of this shit matters. Any of the shit I've done or you've done, the bottom line is we're friends, you and I, and we always will be friends. And I just, I'm thankful for that, definitely. And this conversation's been fun as hell. I got to tell you, my day's a little slow today, so I welcome it.
My boyfriend jokes all the time that the first thing I do when I meet somebody is say, hi, I'm Carrie, I'm from Boston, because Boston people are so obnoxious with letting people know where we're from.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then we tell you what we do for a living, but we first want you to know that we're from fucking Boston, all right?
Oh, God. Like I said, man, I had three Bostonians. Bostonians?
Yeah.
I had three Bostonianites in my band for a very long time. They all grew up together, by the way, Jeff, John, and John Miller, my bass player. And it's a special breed. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, like you guys are so much different. People from Boston are so much different from people from New York and people from Chicago, or people from LA. I mean, you guys have your own thing, and you got to remember, I'm like as a Freemason, right? I mean, like the Tea Party went down. So where you're from. So it's a huge deal, right? And a lot of the battles that this nation fought were, near or on your grounds or around your grounds, So it's a big deal to be kind of a patriot and talk to somebody from Boston.
There's a house around the corner from me that used to be an old tavern, and Lafayette stayed there.
Oh my God. See what I'm saying? I mean, the history is so rich in this country, for good or bad. There's some stuff that, definitely we need to work on, for sure. But the history is so rich in this country, and Boston is just full of it. And like I said, I shared my life for, 15 years with 3 guys from Boston, and man, their mentality is completely different than anybody I've ever met. I mean, anybody, So, and bless those dudes too, good guys, one and all. So yeah, well, I hope to come to Boston and get good with you soon.
Let's
hope that the tour bus.
Wait.
Yeah, let's hope the tour buses start rolling and the venues open up, and music comes on back, and let's see it all happen. I'd love to see it happen. I just, I'm not really a praying kind of guy, but I'm praying for it. Trust me.
Well, we'll do it earlier in the day so you can get to bed early, Dez.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, yeah. If I'm at home and I'm up past 10:30, it's a miracle.
That is a riot. Well, I can't wait to hear the record. I can't wait to see how the movie plays out. And I miss you so much, and I'm so glad that we got to connect today. I know that people are listening. This interview probably didn't go in the directions they were planning, and that's why the podcast is so fucking cool.
Yeah, man. Just people are going to be people. We're going to talk about what we're going to talk about. You and I have been longtime friends. We're going to go along a bunch of different stuff, right? And I got no agenda to push. Yeah, I got a record coming out. Thanks for, pushing it. Yeah, it's coming out October 9th, blah, blah, blah. But good to talk to a friend. And good to talk about like real shit.
Yep.
And get down on some real shit. Talk about real shit. Not when I say it, like, not a lot of people in this industry want to get down on that. And I'm an extremely private person. You know that, Carrie.
No, I know.
For me, this is my only kind of outlet, is to have these kind of conversations. And on this new record, by the way, I'm only doing 5 interviews. Like, that's it. I'm not a guy who does interviews anymore. I do music. If you want to listen to my music, that's cool. There's no reason for me to do 500 interviews on an album cycle. It's ridiculous. And so you're one of them. And I'm glad that we could do this. It's awesome. And we'll check back with each other around Halloween, even if it's not on the air. Just, we'll call each other and let's see where this world is at.
All right. So I'm going to ask you for one thing before we go. So every Tuesday night at 8:30 Boston time, I host a show online that started as me just going live on Facebook with my cell phone. But every Tuesday night at 8:30, I go live on a show in a room of my house that I legitimately call the War Room, right? And it's all dedicated to my family's military service and all of that. And
cool.
I want you and Anastasia at some point on a Tuesday night to join me during Cocktails in the War Room, and I got the technology to make it happen, and I want you guys having a drink and join me and my War Room family, because there's thousands of them every week, and I want you guys to come on and have a cocktail or a mocktail in your case.
We'll do it. We'll do it. She'll have a cocktail. I'll have a Virgin Bloody Mary, but I'm in.
All right, pencil in the next Tuesday night that you got open.
And we'll do it from. And we'll do it from the Tiki Bar, too.
That's what I want you to do. I want to have you guys at your bar, and I'll be at my bar in my house in the War Room.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm in. Just get a hold of her. We're down.
Awesome. I can't wait. That is going to be so much fun. All right, Dez, I will let you go. I've kept you long enough, and now the stock market's fucking closed. I ruined the rest of your day.
No, I already got up and did my trading, man. I got in and out quick before it dropped. They made some announcement about Trump and his... whatever. They made some announcement about Trump and the market just dropped. So me and my kid, Caleb day trades as well. My middle son, like the kid, if I told you the kind of money the kid made, I just gave him 200 and said, start here. Now where he's at is like, holy shit. So we got out nice and early before they made some of these announcements and shit. So the rest of the day is just kind of going to be spent with family. I smell her cooking right now in the kitchen, which means, and I just saw Simon come down. Simon, my youngest son, is the kid who you know, is up till 3 a.m. and sleeps till fucking noon. He's a consummate musician, you know, but he's working on his record now. So I totally get it. He's late night hours and stuff, but he just came down. She's cooking. So rest of the day is going to be spending the day with family and avoiding the triple digits outside and maybe jump in the pool as the sun goes down. So give us a call. We'll join you in the war room on that Tuesday. Just email Anastasia. And Anastasia, you want to say goodbye?
Oh, goodbye.
Bye. We'll see you guys soon.
Very cool hearing your voice.
It's so good to hear you, and congratulations on all your good news. And I'm so happy for you guys. Everything.
Oh, thank you so much. It means the world coming from you. Thank you, Carrie. We appreciate it. Your family.
Well, we will see you in the war room very soon. I look forward to checking out your tiki bar.
She had a conversation with me about Dave Navarro, and I told her about how when he stepped in front of us at the awards show.
Yes,
We're never going to live this down. This is what is going to get us pressed, Dez. Out of everything we talked about, that's the snippet of the interview that people are going to be talking about. It's friggin' hilarious.
I can see Blabber Belly now. Hilarious.
All right, I'm going to go weed my tomato plants. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, have a great day, Carrie. Love you.
I am definitely going to hold Dez to that promise of joining me for a cocktail or a mocktail in the war room. Well, there he is, Dez Fafara from DevilDriver, who has their new double album, Dealing with Demons, coming out on October 9th. All of the links you need are in the description of this podcast. The band links are there. The custom playlist for this episode, we talked about a lot of great bands, and I made a custom playlist like I do every episode. So click on that and enjoy all of that music. You can find me on social at Mistress Carrie on Twitter and on YouTube, and at Mistress Carrie WAF on Instagram and Facebook. And just announced this week, you can find me on Cameo at Mistress Carrie as well. So if you're looking to get some custom videos for somebody, I got quite an imagination. I got to thank Latini Creative Solutions. You can check them out at latinicreative.com, and also RPM Dynamics at rpmdynamics.com for helping to sponsor the podcast this week. I want to thank everybody that has subscribed and is listening to the podcast from all over the world. 76 countries are represented now. And welcome to the people listening in Mongolia.
To celebrate joining Pantheon Podcasts, Rock Camp, the podcast, the official podcast of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, is giving away a guitar signed by Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater, Marty Friedman, formerly of Megadeth, and legendary shredder Zakk Wylde, plus our rockstar counselors like Vinny Appice, Monty Pittman, and more. To enter to win, simply follow, rate, and review our podcast on your preferred platform, and that's all you have to do. For more information, go to rockcamp.com/podcast.